Alright, I played a bunch of games this week, almost 20 if you can believe it. However, they can't all make the top 5, and only one gets the silver medal, and only one gets the gold.
I want to go. Give me the go. I want to go.
Unfortunately for our number 5 game of the week, it won't be taking home any hardware, but it does get a spot right here to kick things off on this week's top 5. Coming in at number 5 is a game called Presenter Slides. You're dead. You're in some kind of low-res purgatory. What you have to do here is visit different locations on a very rudimentary map. Each location requiring you to fulfill a particular task. You have to make your way across the desert without dying again, I guess, even though you're already dead, of dehydration. In the gym, you get strong enough to clear the obstructions that block your path on the world map. At the post-mortem call center, you process deaths and decide the eternal fate of souls in waiting. And finally, you venture across a turbulent sea with the Reaper ferryman while keeping the Cthulhu-like businessman off your back by typing the letters that appear on the screen. It's quite a strange game, but it's very original and worth playing. You can find this one on itch.io. Now, let's hit the pause button on our top 5 games and check in with Professor Sex for a look at 3 very special comic books. Number 4 this week. Another princess is in our castle. If you're a fan of Mario 64, as well as run and hide horror games, this one will be right up your alley. The concept is simple. Collect items and avoid the evil, ghostly version of Princess Peach that's gliding around the castle and its outer grounds. There's not much to do other than that, but this game is perfect in replicating the Mario 64 world. I'd love to see this demo expanded upon and turned into an experience that encompasses the entire world of Mario 64. I know that's a lot to ask, and the creator will probably have to avoid assassination attempts from Nintendo, but the final product would no doubt be worth the time and effort. This one is available now on itch.io. The game countdown continues. Number 3 on this week's list, Poop Killer 4. I knew when I saw the Poop Killer 4 poster in 616 Games' Night of Carnage that a 4th numbered entry into the series was on its way. Of course, this is actually the 5th Poop Killer game, as the 4th Poop Killer game released was Poop Killer Origins. Poop Killer 4 has you playing as an employee in a sex shop. As per usual, a customer comes in and greatly overshits his welcome, leaving the bathroom a complete disaster. The twist this time, however, is that the killer who shows up isn't the real Poop Killer. You might recall that the original Poop Killer was defeated and killed at the end of Poop Killer 3. No, this is a copycat, and the original Poop Killer doesn't take the imitation as flattery. He's quite offended. From the ground outside the sex shop rises a pair of burning butt cheeks, and squeezed out from those cheeks like a fiery turd is the authentic Poop Killer himself, back from the dead. First, the faker meets his end, and then the player character via a shitgun blast. There are 2 other endings, but a bug in the game kept me from seeing them. And unfortunately, that probably contributed to this game not being higher on this week's list. I believe that bug is fixed now though, so give it a try for yourself. Available on itch.io, and if you subscribe to the 616 Games Patreon, which I would highly recommend doing. Silver medal time. Number 2 this week is Hooked on You, a Dead by Daylight dating sim. This was a game I didn't even know about until I saw it appear under the Steam new releases. I've always enjoyed Dead by Daylight, so I thought I'd give their first visual novel a go. You wake up on a resort island with 5 killers, one of them being a kind of secret character, 2 employees, and the ocean and the narrator to keep you company. As this is a dating sim, you're forced almost from the get-go to begin courting one of the killers. There's the Wraith, Trapper, the Huntress, the Spirit, and the kind of mysterious trickster character. I went with the spirit, and though she dumped me in the end, I played my cards well enough to make sweet gothic love to her at least one time, so I think that's what Celery Montaigne might call a big W. Worth noting, by the way, that there are no super graphic adult scenes in the game. It is fairly sexy, but nothing explicit is included. Perhaps they'll offer an 18-plus patch in the future. Probably depends on how loud and horny the Dead by Daylight fanbase is. Before we reveal our gold medal winner, game of the week, what I'd like to do is take my open hand, plunge it deep into the toilet, clench my fist, and pull out what I like to call the turd of the week. The turd of the week, right here. And this week, the turd that I hold in my outstretched hand represents a game called Huge Business Inc. A game featuring a multitude of stock photos and a seemingly unsolvable ending. You come to in a jail cell, and you let yourself out using the key taped to your cell wall. However, when the boss walks in and catches you, you're told that escaping your cell wasn't very huge business of you, which in this game is not a good thing. Then you must run. When you think you've reached the exit, prison bars slam down from above and block your path to freedom. Then, a man in an old plague doctor's mask begins creeping through the vent in the room towards your location. If you slam the vent door, he's knocked back to his starting point at the far end of the vent. You can do this indefinitely, and the result remains the same. As soon as he escapes, you get jump scared, and the game starts over. I see no way out of this loop, and after about 10 minutes, I didn't care to continue looking for one. Huge Business Inc. Turd of the Week. And now, finally, our gold medal winner, Luggage. This game takes the top spot and wins the gold for Game of the Week. Why? Atmosphere. Story-wise, it's pretty standard horror fare, featuring one of my least favorite tropes in all of horror. Surprise! A killer is you! I'd be fine with no one ever using that ending again. Ever. Anyway, back to the atmosphere. I think it's one of the most visually appealing indie horror games I've ever seen. The airplane, the walk through the tunnel with the mauve carpet and brown walls, the airport with the two shopping corridors that take me right back to my earliest childhood memories of my local Dayton Mall, way back before the 90s renovations. Reminiscent of the Monroeville Mall from the original Dawn of the Dead. Just stunning. Even the apartment you go home to, and you're only in for about a couple minutes, is carefully crafted with linoleum tile on the kitchen floor, contrasted by the hard wood in the living room. And speaking of the living room, how about the way that beautiful rug ties the room together? I'm telling you, this game is an under 10 minutes long visual feast if you are into the 70s-ish aesthetic. Perfect. Gold medal winner, very much deserved.